In this Wellness Wednesday video, I wanted to chat a little bit about different tweaks I'm considering making to my diet, and they are tweaks that are like little nudges towards weight loss, possibly. Like I talked about a little bit in one of my recent Wellness Wednesday videos, my approach to weight loss and diet these days is way different than it used to be. There are a lot of reasons for that, and I'll put that video up in the cards if you're curious to hear more about that, if you haven't seen that video. Part of the difference is my mindset, and that it's not as urgent for me to want to lose weight. It used to be really, really important to me. Now, like I talked about before, I'm really at the place of I'd rather hang on to this 10 or 15 extra pounds that I have than do what I have done before to try to lose weight. The restriction and being completely miserable and hungry all the time, I'm not going back to that. I don't want to go back to that. So when I think about strategies, or some people call it levers to pull to try to nudge your body towards weight loss, I'm really, really slow about implementing anything. It used to be I'd, research, find a new idea, diet or tweak or whatever, and it'd be like, I have to start this. I'm going to start this tomorrow. And I'd be, really excited, and it was like urgent and like this is going to be the thing, and now I'm a lot slower. Part of me like dreads making a diet change, because I really have found like what my baseline happy diet is and what makes my body feel really good. And the idea of any kind of restriction really turns me off. So there'll be times where I'm like, oh yeah, I think that little tweak would probably, help me or nudge my body a little bit towards weight loss. But then I'm like, I'm so over dieting, I don't want to do it. So I'm really slow to implement anything, and really, really picky about anything I do implement, because I do recognize that whatever I do in order to get my body to lose weight, I will probably have to continue to do in order to keep the weight off. And maybe not continue to do fully, like there may be some maintenance adjustments, but it should be, when I make a decision about a tweak that I'd make to my diet, it should be something that I'm willing to do, at least to some extent, forever. For the past probably 6 months or so, I have not implemented any diet tweaks. Life has been crazy with our big move and with settling into our new place, that it just was not the time at all to try to do anything that would take any effort as far as diet tweaks. All I tried to focus on during this stressful, busy time was eating the baseline diet of what makes me feel good, which I call ketovore, which is a higher protein keto, and just sticking to that was enough focus, and it just wasn't the right time for any other kind of tweaks. But now I am looking forward to possibly the end of September or the beginning of October, thinking it might be a good time to try something. So we are going on a beach trip just in less than a week. We also start school in less than a week. So between starting school and getting ready for our beach trip, I'm obviously not planning to start any of these tweaks soon, but I am thinking forward. Like I said, I'm very slow about it. So I like to think about it for a while and really decide if I'm willing to live with this or not. And I'm looking towards after our beach trip, maybe the end of September, if I'm really ready to go by then, maybe starting in October. And I thought it might be a really good idea to do something like this in October, because it's after school starts, we'll be more in a rhythm, and then it's also before the holidays really start. So I thought if I took a good chunk in October and tried some of these things out, it might just be a good time. So anyways, what are the tweaks I am contemplating? There's really just two, and then I have to figure out like the details within those. I'll tell you the first one, but I'm really leaning against it, and I'll tell you why. The first tweak that I would consider, or I have been considering, is cutting out dairy. Now, I have cut out dairy from my diet plenty of times in the past, but looking back on them, they've always been times where I wasn't specifically doing low carb or keto. They were always times primarily when I was doing like a Whole30 cleanse or diet. And when you're eating Whole30, you can have carbs. So there would be different starches, like sweet potatoes and now potatoes, or you could have fruit and then lots of veggies on top of that. So I was not eating a low carb diet. And I have been really curious to know how I would feel doing keto plus dairy free. In the past, I have recognized that dairy is a little bit hard on me, but what I found is that if I am not eating other things that are hard on me, like grains and sugar, dairy really doesn't bother me that much. I think it's like the overload of all of those things at the same time, dairy kind of adds on to that. But if I'm not eating those other things, I think my body can handle dairy pretty well, which is why I haven't given it up yet. But I am really curious. It's like if I were able to go, a full month without dairy and sticking to my ketovore diet, would I feel like way better? I don't know. But you guys, every time I think about trying to do dairy free again, I just don't want to do it. It feels like restriction to me. I love having cream in my coffee in the morning. I like the convenience of grabbing a little bit of cottage cheese or grabbing a cheese stick as I'm walking out the door. It's very convenient. I don't tend to overeat dairy. Like some people say that if they have a little bit of cheese, they just have to go back and keep eating it till it's gone. I don't have that. I like cheese. I enjoy snacking on it sometimes. I enjoy melted cheese on my burger, but I don't feel like I have that addiction reaction to it that some people talk about, and I feel like I can moderate it really well. And that's why I'm leaning against doing a no dairy challenge. I just don't think I'm motivated enough to give up that. So the second lever or tweak that I am considering, and this is the one where I have to figure out kind of the details, but it is something that's really popular right now, and that's the idea of having leaner keto days. So you might have heard of Maria Emmerich's protein sparing modified fast. She's not the creator of it, but she's made it very popular. And then also Kelly Hogan has talked about doing something similar, not exactly the same. She's doing lean fat days. So you do 2 lean days in a row and then have a higher fat day where you kind of refeed. But the idea is that if you have fat on your body that you want to burn, that reducing the fat that you're consuming makes sense. And it's not getting rid of fat completely, because you do need fat for like good hormone health and all kinds of functions in your body. So if you just cut out fat over the long term, you're not gonna probably do well in regards to your health. But with this strategy of throwing in these leaner days, it gives your body the chance to burn the fat off of your body, but then you also refeed the fat on the higher fat days so that your hormones stay healthy and all that. The protein sparing modified fast is very strict as far as calories. You're supposed to stick around 800 calories, which sounds really restrictive in my mind right now, and that is why I don't plan on doing technically the protein sparing modified fast. I do not track my calories, I do not track carbs or macros or anything like that, and I don't really feel like starting, so I am not gonna start out trying to do that. Did you come to say hi?
Hi. Yeah, I did.
I was hiding in the woods so I could do my video, and you came and found me.
Yeah, I just heard you, and I was looking for you, and I went up into the forest and found you.
Have you taken care of the kitties today and had kitty time?
No.
Well, you should go do that.
Okay, well, I did a tiny bit.
You checked on them to make sure they were
Yeah.
okay? Yeah, good. All right, let me go finish my video. So.
Can I go play with the kitties?
Yeah, unless Charity's already doing kitty time. Then you can do it after she's done, okay? All right. So I'm not planning on starting out with anything strict like the protein sparing modified fast that Maria talks about. I really like Kelly Hogan's idea of the lean days. She also doesn't restrict calories or count protein grams necessarily. She just sticks to lower fat foods that are on her regular diet. So instead of eating like burger patties that are 80-20, she'll eat ground turkey that's lower fat, or like lower fat cuts of beef, shrimp, fish, any proteins that are lower in fat. And of course, the egg white bread is a big thing that you can have because it is 0 fat and nearly 0 carb. It's all egg whites basically. So that is a great thing to add when you're doing any kind of these lean days or protein sparing modified fasts. Kelly Hogan talks about a rule of thumb that she uses, which is, I think it was that the fat content of the serving of food that you're going to eat should be half or less than half of the number of protein grams. So if you're looking at different cuts of meat or food products, you should look at the fat. If the fat is like 10 grams, then you make sure that the protein for that serving is at least 20 grams. So I really like that simplicity of not having to count really carefully, but just having a rule of thumb that just try to stay lean. You don't have to make it zero fat. Just try to, I think, on the protein sparing modified fast, Maria recommends less than 30 grams of fat in the day. So I'll probably stick somewhere around there. Now I will continue to have cream in my coffee, but I will just really restrict how much I put in, maybe like a teaspoon or 2 teaspoons of cream. And I'll just make sure that the other foods I have are very lean so that I'm not overdoing it on the fat. And I know Maria Emmerich really discourages dairy, and even on the protein sparing modified fast, I've heard her say specifically, don't try to do it and do all of your fat as dairy fat. And I hear that, and I recognize that I may not succeed really well doing it this way, but that's what feels the least restrictive to me. So I'm making changes that I can live with, that don't feel restrictive, and as I go along, if it doesn't work, I might try something else, might tweak something else, but I'm just making baby steps and little tweaks and just paying attention to how I feel and what happens and go from there. Like I mentioned, Kelly Hogan has been doing lean fat, so 2 lean days and 1 higher fat day. I think what I'm going to start with is just alternating lean days and higher fat days. And on the higher fat days, I'm not going to be like refeeding, like trying to get extra fat. I'm just going to eat my regular ketovore diet that I have been eating that I know works well for me, and we'll just see how it goes. So that's my rough plan right now, alternating leaner ketovore days, basically eating the same kinds of foods I have been eating, but just trying to stick to the leaner ones on one day and then switch to a regular day, which is going to be higher fat, and just alternating back and forth. And I'll try to make sure that I do a full month of that before I decide, unless I'm feeling really terrible and for some reason it just feels really restrictive and my body doesn't seem like it's liking it, then I will just stick with that for the full month before I, weigh again or take pictures again or whatever metric I decide to use to judge my progress. Because I think a month is a good amount of time to be able to see if it's going to work for me or not. Just a week or two, I probably won't get a good idea. So anyways, that's all the things I've been contemplating. If you guys have tried adding in those leaner days, either the protein sparing modified fast or just trying to eat a little bit leaner cuts of meat or lower fat foods and alternating, let me know how that has worked out for you. If you have any tricks, definitely my biggest trick is going to be the egg white bread. I'm going to try to make some of those hot pockets, but with just leaner fillings in there. And I think that'll be really good, and it'll help me stay full and it won't feel as restrictive. Thanks so much for hanging out with me on this Wellness Wednesday. Hope you guys are doing great, and I'll see you again in the next video. Oh my goodness, you look like you're having the time of your life, man.
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
Yep. You see these green things?
Green things on the plant?
Yep. These are seeds.
Yeah?
Hey, Mom,
Yeah?
we shouldn't write this.
Oh, you think they would like that seed?
Yeah.
Yeah, they might. It's worth a try.
Hey, Mom, what holders I'm for chickens?
Sure.
For chickens eat.
Thank you. You're so kind to the chickens.
Yep, chickens like some seeds.
They do like seeds. You are so right.
Why don't do it?
Yeah, I'll go do it.
Oh.
You want to watch?
Yep.
Okay. Here, chickens. Levi has a seed for you. Sorry, it's not a lot. I think they did. They were fighting over it. Maybe you need to find more and then give them more, because they liked it so much. Okay. Bring them over here.